each and every week on Wednesday morning at 8:30 Mountain Time. That would be 7:30 on the West Coast, 10:30 on the East Coast, assuming, of course, that you're in a zone that changes daylight to standard time, as our state does. Who knows what's going to happen in the future here? That keep talking about that congressional thing. For now, let's just assume we're on Mountain Daylight Time here, and it's 8:30 here, 7:30 in LA, 10:30 in New York. We do this every single Wednesday. This is a question and answer. So if you have questions about anything pertaining to the bottom line, we're big on tax. That's one of the things that sucks your bottom line down, certainly. So your tax questions, anything that has anything to do at all with cash flow management, bottom line profit, and lower taxes. We're all about more profit, more cash, less tax. 6 simple words, okay? And that's what we're here to help with. So here's the thing that was bothering me. I have these odd thoughts from time to time, and one of them is this thing called UCR. I discovered this back when I was working in medical claims assistance, and it stands for usual, customary, and reasonable, and it basically dictates how much an insurance company or your federal government in the form of Medicare will pay a provider. And sometimes usual, customary, and reasonable is kind of unreasonable given the geographic area. So the thing is there anything you can do about that? Well, one thing that I know for sure, you can refuse to take Medicare, but you really can't do that because honestly, well, I don't know. It depends on your practice. But if you basically tell a significant portion of the population, and there are more people turning 65 this year than 25, that's been going on for some time because of the baby boom, right? So in fact, population growth is actually slowing a little bit, I heard someplace. So all that is to say that you're basically turning your back on a significant percentage of the demographic. You're saying that you don't really want to see anybody 65 or over, assuming that they are not a former military patient. And I'll talk about that in a second. But you can refuse to take Medicare, but you're basically shutting down a significant portion of your potential client base by doing so. You're basically saying, I just don't want to see senior citizens because anybody at 65 or over is going to whip out their Part B if they have it, and they're going to have Part A. So I don't suppose that affects a lot of our audience because we're basically talking to the people whom bill Part B for providers. So that is to say, therefore, that you're kind of stuck with whatever Medicare decides is reasonable for you. So hopefully your patient is in a position where they have a decent gap insurance. But that kind of circles back around to a thing that I'm kind of crusading about. And I'm wondering whether or not there's something that we can do about this as a trusted accounting advisor in this field. Is you've got multiple people, you sell a widget doing anything else like a manufacturing company, and basically you present the widget to the guy gives you the money, the sale closed, it's done. Shut down your invoice and count the revenue. But with the medical field, you're kind of getting your money from all over the place. And just wondering if there's something that we can do about streamlining this process and ensuring that your payments are being made the most timely fashion possible, and that this strategy makes it into your overall accounting and business financial strategy. And to do this in such a way where you can focus on patient care and not have to sit and agonize over this. There really should be somebody out there that can help you do all this worrying for you. Because isn't that what we do? We're a nation of specialists, and who understands specialization better than the medical field? There is certainly a number of different specialties in medicine, and for a very good reason, because people need you, and it's important. So I'm on a little bit of a tangent here, but one of the things when the Affordable Care Act, I hate to use its other more colloquial, named after the president that was in office at the time. Not all his fault, so I will not call it the O word. But the Affordable Care Act basically dictated that you had to have insurance and set up marketplaces. And honestly, I was in a position at the time this was all happening where it was getting a little bit on the complex side. And the thought popped up in my head, hey, I've got an honorable discharge from the military. What about just going back to the VA? Well, it turns out the VA kind of makes that easy for you. And in fact, they will give you a 1095, I think it's a -A, for full coverage for the entire year if you are enrolled in the program and you go to your regular annual checkups or anything. For me, that's biannual. They like to take my blood once every 6 months, but found a thing. There are some services which the VA either due to caseload or geographic necessity or a combination of the two, they basically will refer some services out to civilian providers. And I'll think of an example. And just saying this, I'm going to put it out there, but colonoscopies, they're terribly behind on those. I live in the city of Colorado Springs, and honestly, if I was to do that, I would have to drive to Denver, which is over an hour away. And that's, matter of fact, you can call it an hour and a half these days, even though they've done things of the interstate to try to make it a little bit faster. It's still a long drive, and it's not the kind of drive you want to make if you are going to be doing something that involves general anesthesia and putting your spouse through that, assuming you are married. Okay, so the whole point here is that I basically get farmed out to a civilian provider, and that's fine. I think it's kind of awesome, actually. There's very good doctors in our city. I don't know. I think a lot of people gravitate here because the fitness opportunities, Olympic Training Center. I don't know, whatever. But fact of the matter is, I get very good care that way, and it is fully 100% covered for the veteran. But I notice I get these explanation of benefits statements, and if you are not a doctor, you're a patient, and you look at one of these EOBs and all these letters on these things. I don't know how many times I had to explain what COINS was. Coinsurance basically boils down to, yeah, you got to pay this yourself. So, but I will find quite often that something that the civilian provider billed, say, $800 for, your federal government decided that the UCR and that was about $360, and that's it. No responsibility to the veteran. They basically pay the provider less than 50% of their billed rate, and they are essentially forced to accept that as payment in full. Is that right? Well, I don't know. It's almost like enforcing reform on the medical billing practices of our country. But the plain fact of the matter is the reason that you build the higher amount, right? The reason is simply that you have people that you have to pay, you have equipment that you have to have, you've got consumables that you have to go through. So I guess the question is UCR really reasonable? The last letter. I welcome your responses on this. I'd like to get a dialogue started on this, and I don't know if there's anything that can be done about it, but one of the things that you can do as a business owner, you are, as a medical practitioner, face it, you are an entrepreneur. You're in business. You're exchanging your services and possibly your goods for the financial gain from patients, clients, customers. Okay. So because of that, this is a consideration, and you can plan for these things. You know this is going to happen. If you know something is going to happen, I should say, there should be some kind of contingency plan in place to allow for it. You could quite possibly put something into the financial planning of your practice that basically plans for a UCR. I don't know if I want to call it attrition, I'm sorry, a vocabulary word's escaping me, but it's when you expect so much for something and you're getting a lot less for it. The thing is, if it's not a surprise, then it's not as devastatingly frustrating either. So, I don't know how I feel about UCRs. I feel for you guys. You got your catastrophic six-figure student loan debt. How Lord knows how long you're paying on that, and we're here to help to the best of our ability. So, if you ever have any questions at all, of course, you can pop into direct message. Matter of fact, let me look at chat right now. Okay, nobody's asking a question, but let me. Hello, everyone. I believe that when I do this, it will send a message to everyone on Facebook, LinkedIn, and now YouTube. We've beta tested YouTube, and it looks like we're live there as well. So if you have questions during one of these chats, one of these weekly profit talks, you can type it into the chat. If you're watching this on replay, type it into the chat anyway, because we are looking at our social media on a daily basis, and we will accumulate your questions and we'll read them live next week. Next Monday is the 8th of November. We are what I like to think of as well underway into what is the beginning of the holiday season. Kind of thinking it sort of starts with Halloween because it's fun. And I'm fortunate enough to live somewhere where the little kids still come to the door. And I know that's probably more the exception than the rule in modern America, but we're very fortunate that way. And last night was a lot of fun. So the holiday season has begun. Yes. We're well into fall. That coolness in the air, the hot chocolate at night, and looking for things to do to wander around bundled up and perhaps buy something for people that we care about. So I got a little bit off subject here. With that, let me wrap up for this week. I did go a little bit over 10 minutes here. So of course, we set aside up to 30 minutes for this if we do have a lively question and answer period. But for this week, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up by saying I hope you have an amazing rest of the week, an awesome weekend. And if you do have a chance, do something randomly kind for a stranger. So until next week, Monday the 8th at 8:30 Mountain Time, we'll see you then. Have a great